Yo, check it out, I gotta speak the truth about the hardest working small channel in the crypto booth. He's the crypto
So I
father.
woke up to this morning, martial law in South Korea. My friend messaged me last night. Of course I was out, I was in bed. I slept right through the whole martial coup d'etat. Lucky for me, I guess. Or maybe not so lucky, considering that anybody who caught on to this dip, look at this major candle going down. If you caught on to this dip took Bitcoin on the Korean exchanges from all the way from 133,000 or million won down to 88 million won, which was approximately a 30% discount on Bitcoin, and another a nice dip on ADA, which was about 45%, and of course another dip on XRP, which was 57%, and of course another dip on Ethereum, which was 38%. Basically, the entire crypto market in Korea went plummeting down, and you could have made mass profits if you only had this random purchase order set at these ridiculously low levels. And you might wonder what's happening. Why is this dip taking place? Like, how is this even possible, right? And I think the conspiratorial theorist in me screams, you know, the taxation season has been once again postponed, and the governments are not collecting the proper amount of taxes on these crypto gains. Korea has been toying with implementing a crypto tax since 2022. The tax, introduced via a 2020 amendment to the Income Tax Act, was installed initially slated to take effect on January 1st, 2024. However, repeated delays, largely driven by investor opposition, have now pushed the implementation date to 2027. Sorry, I said 2022. No, I meant it's been they've been trying to implement it for years, I guess since 2020, or even maybe even before that. But basically it's just been postponed again and again and again. Initially, the goal was to impose tax on the first $2,500 gained from crypto investments. Then it was changed to $50,000 or 50 million won on gains made on crypto investments. But that as well has been pushed back. And now, last night at about 10 p.m., the South Korean president has issued a state of martial law under the complaint that there are too many North Korean sympathizers. After referring to the opposition's political attacks, President Yoon on Tuesday night said he was declaring martial law to crush anti-state forces that have been wreaking havoc. That was his reasoning. But South Korea's political opposition immediately called Yoon's declaration illegal and unconstitutional. The leader of Yoon's own party, the Conservative People's Power Party, also called his act the wrong move. The main opposition leader, Lee Jae-myung, called on his Democratic Party MPs to converge on the parliament to vote down the declaration, which was then called down several hours after. But basically, since stepping into office, President Yoon has not been a favorite. People are complaining all the time. Some of the reasons: Yoon was voted into office in May 2022, but has been a lame duck president since April, when the opposition won a landslide in the country's general election. His government since then has not been able to pass the bills they wanted to have been reduced, instead to vetoing bills passed by the opposition. He has also seen a fall in voter standing, having been mired in several corruption scandals, including one involving the First Lady accepting a Dior bag and another around stock manipulation. Governments in general are corrupt, but the Korean government has corruption woven into its basic fabric. Just last month, he was forced to issue an apology on national TV, saying he was setting up an office overseeing the First Lady's duties, but he rejected a wider investigation which opposing parties had been calling for. Then this week, the opposition proposed slashing budgets for his government, and budget bills cannot be vetoed. At the same time, the opposition also moved to impeach cabinet members and several top prosecutors, including the head of the government's audit agency, failing to investigate the First Lady. And I guess the man was pushed over the brink, and he decided to pull out some big guns on the people who were trying to topple him over. So what now? Yoon's declaration caught many off guard, and it has been a fast-moving situation these past hours, but the opposition was able to congregate quickly at parliament and had the numbers to vote down the martial law declaration. And despite the heavy presence of troops and police in the capital, a takeover by the military has, it seems, not materialized. It's interesting that right now the military is being taken somewhat seriously, because so far, for the longest time, for years and years, basically ever since the start of the Cold War here, or the armistice that has been semi-signed here between North and South Korea, because technically the Koreas are still at war. There was never really a peace treaty signed, so the Koreas are still technically at war, but nothing ever happens. And the Korean military is basically, for the most part, just a standby military, with the possible threat of the North being here. But in essence, you know, most of the guys here, they're young guys, they're in their 20s, because military duties kick in when you're in your, I think when you turn 18 or 20 years old. So most of the guys in the military are in their early 20s, and they're young guys, and so they do their 2 year of duty, or, you know, depending on the branch of the military that you're in. Air Force a little bit longer, Navy also. If it's just the regular military army, then I think it's 18 months. But as that aside, for the most part, it's very harmless, and most of the guys that I've spoken to, they find it to be a complete waste of time. But so now finally, I could see how a lot of these guys are eager to jump to do their job, to do their duties, because they're actually being put to do something meaningful. Under South Korean law, the government must lift martial law if a majority in parliament demands it in a vote. The same law also prohibits martial law command from arresting lawmakers. It's unclear what happens now. Some of the protesters gathered outside the assembly on Tuesday night had also been shouting, "Arrest Yoon Suk-yeol." So I'm sure that this is not going to be the end. There is going to be some other repercussions, because there will be some hardcore jacks trying to, you know, to have this come to fruition, because the present president is not very well liked for a number of reasons, I was told. And some people even go as far as saying that this is feeling like this feels like a coup d'etat, which is not something you want to see in a democratic South Korea, particularly a country where I'm living. The toppling of a presidency, man, that stuff happens in I don't know, in South America and South American countries, nations. Can you imagine all the poor K-pop teeny boppers screaming in their mini skirts and stuff, running for cover? That's just a bad look for Korea, man. What would happen to K-pop? But Bitcoin is back up to $134,000. We're still waiting for 140,000, which is approximately the equivalent of 100K, or 140 million. Which is approximately the equivalent of $100,000. So that's going to take shape soon. And other than that, there's nothing else happening. All this stuff that was announced, martial law was declared last night at about 10:30, and this morning at about 8 o'clock it was canceled, and we're all back to normal. So fear not, everything is in good shape. We'll see what the repercussions are going to be. But right now, the drama has ceased, and all is good back in the land of the morning calm. Do smash the likes on this video, subscribe to the channel. Make sure to follow if you're interested to know what's happening in South Korea. I am located in South Korea, and so able to report on the things that are happening here. Give you the scoop from the ground, from the battleground. Today is Wednesday. I will see you tomorrow on Thursday on another video on the Crypto Father channel. Have a good one.